Hey guys, welcome back to the Food Forest. Here's another installment of the series of what have I learned in the 9 years that I've been making this Food Forest. And today I want to talk about maintenance. Some of you have asked about maintenance, and that's a huge topic. So I think I'll do one part here in the fall garden and talk about what I do, and then I think I'll probably come back and do another maintenance video in spring, because those are very different work tasks and like that. So this is sumac, and I mean it's so beautiful right now. I think even if it is making lots of suckers, I love it in the garden. Super beautiful right now. Usually I don't do anything cleaning up in the garden in fall, and there are several reasons for that, and I I made a whole video about that some time ago. I'll add a link to that in the description below. It's because the plants are surviving the winter much better when they are not cut back, and insects are nesting and wintering, and birds are eating the seeds, and all kinds of wonderful things are happening if you leave your garden in fall. But this year I was so stressed out in spring that I decided that I need to buy myself some time. So today I did, not today, but this year I decided that I would clean up about half of the garden, the food forest, in fall, to buy myself some time in spring, so that I can enjoy spring more and not be so stressed out with all the things that need doing immediately. So I have been cutting back some, I don't know, maybe half, and it's also actually, in a way, it's saving me time in the way that I don't have to do the cutting back in spring, but it's also saving me time in terms of removing some of the plants that are spreading lots and lots and lots of seeds, so that I have to weed them in spring. So this Malva, for instance, is it loves to grow here, so I really have to keep that in check. So removing stuff like that would be a good thing, and I have decided that self-care is as important as garden care. So this year I'm taking a little better care of myself, and I'm thinking that all of these delicious seeds that are bird food, they would still be on the compost heap, and they should be able to find them there. So I'm not starving anyone of any meals, I think. So that's part of it, cutting back, and also digging up a lot of the self-seeded trees. That's another huge task in the garden. And I want to talk a little bit about a myth in permaculture, that if you just apply the principles and you plant a food forest, it will take care of itself. And that is not my experience in any way. I spend all my hours out here when I can, and I love this kind of work. I mean, why I'm not looking for something that's maintenance free. I think this collaboration, this connectedness that happens when you work in the garden is as important as the food that's nurturing you in a garden like this. So I think there's a lot of work involved, but I also think it's because I have decided to have the kind of garden that I'm having. So it's a very sort of light and open food forest in most spaces. So I have lots of diversity, lots of complexity in the garden, and that means, of course, that there's more work. And when we started out deciding to make this food forest, I went to see Martin Crawford's food forest in the UK, and at that time I think it was about 25 years old. And I asked him how long time he spent maintaining the garden. And that this garden is about 3,000 square meters, and his garden is about 8,000 square meters. So it's quite a lot bigger than this garden. And he said, I spend about a week pruning and cutting back and managing this 8,000 square meter garden. And I see how that could be true. I'm sure it's true. It's not. I'm not telling. I'm not saying he's a liar in any way. But I also see that his garden has a lot less complexity than this garden. Also because of succession, of course, his garden was 25 years old. This is only 9. So we are still in the sort of the middle of succession, and the trees are not quite fully grown and all of that. But also because that he gets most of his crops from the trees, whereas I am trying to have, the aim is to have as much diversity as possible in the garden. So it's a very different animal, this kind of garden, and also there's a lot more maintenance. So that's one thing to consider. Another thing is that I have all of these pathways, and they are also a lot of maintenance. So I have ordered a lot of wood chips, and I'm going to weed. I'm not really going to weed, I'm just going to add a thick layer, but where it's needed I'm probably going to weed a little bit in the pathways. Oh my god, this cornus is so amazingly beautiful. So many colors. Every day I think I discover more colors, more oranges and more reds. I think it is glorious. And have a look at these. These are, it's a kind of rubus. It's called laxebær. I don't know what it is in English actually, but the leaves are amazing. I think super beautiful. So that's a lot of the maintenance that's going on now. Later on this year I will have a friend with a chainsaw helping me to cut back some of the bigger branches and some of the things that I want to take out of the food forest as it is now, to get more light and to lift it up a little bit so it's easier to move around. There's always something. So that's most of the maintenance now, is this cutting back, is re-establishing some of the pathways that have been overgrown in this growth season, and it's lovely. I love it. Why do you want something that's maintenance free? I don't know. That would be boring to me. So rather I want to enjoy it, and I feel how this self-care is important, and I'm pleased with this decision. So that's a bit about that, and I'll be back with a part 2 in spring sometime. And thank you for watching. See you later.